I want to scream and choke out the motherfuckers who made you believe that you were not worth it, that you were not valuable, and that people could come and treat you any way they want to, and then come back and be like, hey girl, what you doing? Want to go out tonight? And all that type of bullshit. Welcome to the Black Mother Wound podcast, where we center the stories of Black women as we heal from the painful relationships with our mothers. Welcome back to the Black Mother Wound podcast. I am your host, Jennifer Arnice. What's up, y'all? Today we are continuing from last week, answering listener questions. And y'all keep me in prayer that I don't break down crying during these questions, because I read back through some of them today, and Jesus Christ, I think I resonate with so many of them in some way, shape, or another. And I think I'm going to read more of their question. One, because I want to honor the vulnerability it took to even ask the question. And I'm so appreciative that y'all trust me with your hearts and your minds in this work. Whoo, child. This is gonna be something right here. This is gonna be tough. But I'm also going to read the questions out because I want you to have more evidence that you are not alone. Okay? That you are not alone. And that even if your situation is not exactly like this, that what I'm going to be saying is something that can help you also. So I just want you to be listening for that. Okay? And we're just going to jump right on in because, child, these goddamn mamas, these these motherfucking heifers. Some of these heifers need to be put in a motherfucking headlock and beat the fuck down. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Starting with number 1 on the list today. How does your birth order, oldest, middle, youngest, reflect your mother wound, especially as a middle child, often thought to get the hardest treatment? How has this shaped your relationship with your mother? I'm a middle child, oldest daughter. So I had a brother, then me, then my younger brother from my mother. We're all 4 years apart. Okay. I'm not an expert on birth order, but I do think that the second child, the mother, after you've had your first child, your second child, you kind of like, oh, okay. You might not have the same, I don't want to say the same care or concerns, but you kind of know what to expect in some ways, right? It's not as new to you. And I think that does impact being a middle child. And then when you have your last child, you're kind of like, oh, this is the last one. The first one, you're all excited because that's the first one. But I think more than birth order, what impacts the relationship between a child and their mother is what that parent is going through at the moment, right? I think that is the most important thing. And my mother was at a critical point when she had me. She was already having issues with my father. She became saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost while she was pregnant with me. So she changed her life like overnight. She went from a woman who smoked, drank, partied, toted a pistol, hung out, to a woman who didn't wear pants, didn't wear makeup, didn't celebrate, didn't party, didn't listen to music, and she was obsessed with the Bible. Now, my opinion, she had some type of mental breakdown. To me, that's what I think, right? But that's not even just about her. That's when I see people have to take such a drastic turn with religion, because it's just another addiction that you hold on to. But anyway, that's not why we're here. And I think that having a daughter also triggered a lot of her trauma. So I think if you take her trauma being on the rise, triggered by the relationship with my father, and then finding out she was having a daughter, and how rural, Southern, Black, traditional Christians raised Black girls impacted a lot of that. So you know, I don't know how being the middle child impacts it. But I want to ask you this question. Why is that important? Because there you can't control that. And usually when I hear questions like this, it's because the person is trying to understand. They have made a priority of trying to understand why their mother treats them that way, why the relationship is that way, so they can kind of fix it. They can address it. They can do something. And I don't want you to do that because, in all honesty, it doesn't matter when it comes to healing the birth order. It doesn't fucking matter. Because this question to me feels more like you are centering the relationship with your mother and the relationship she has with you. And you can only heal your mother wound when you are centering the relationship you have with yourself, right? In healing your mother wound or healing anything else, it is very easy to get caught up in a lot of information and research and things that even might be true that makes us stay in our head instead of dropping down into our heart, right? And we want to intellectualize our trauma and everything that's happened so we can make some type of logic and out of it and understanding and make sense out of it. And that is counterproductive. Okay? Counterproductive. So that's question number 1 out. Question number 2. What can I do in my life to heal my mother wound? I've done therapy, CBT, shadow work, and journaling. I have moved to a different city and cut off my family. It's difficult and isolating at times, but I know I'm doing it for my younger self. I suffered years of abuse and trying to start a new chapter in my life. So what can I do in my life to heal my mother wound after she's done lots of things? Again, I can relate because I've done all the shit, right? You keep doing it. You keep doing it. It becomes a lifestyle. That's what I said a couple weeks ago. Healing your mother wound is a lifestyle, right? Because what you are doing is building a healthy relationship with yourself. And you don't ever stop building a healthy relationship with yourself. Just like if you were in a healthy relationship with another person, you don't say, well, I brought you flowers. I took you out to eat. What else do you want? I showed you I loved you. And by the way, that's a real fucking example a nigga gave me before, because his thing was, you want me to keep taking you out after I took you out. I did this thing for you. That should show you how I feel. Why do I have to keep doing it? Can you believe that dumbass shit? Dumb. Anyway, we do the same things to ourselves. It's like, well, I did all the things. Why do I have to keep doing it? Because it keeps making you feel better. It keeps reinforcing the fact that you matter, that you're worthy, that you don't have to earn love, right? I was in a 40-year unhealthy, toxic relationship with my mother. Am I supposed to say after 10 years, oh, why am I still doing this? I should be done by now? No, that's not it. So what I intuitively hear, could be wrong, is a level of impatience, right? You have to be dedicated to your inner little girl for the rest of her life. She's always needing something new, right? So with the shadow work, with the therapy, with the CBT, how has it connected you to your inner little girl? Because if you're connected to her on any given moment, you can ask her, what does she need from you right now? Right? Because it may not be, again, an intellectual solution. She might need rest. She might need her phone on do not disturb. She might need you to say no more than you say yes. You need to ask her what she needs. So healing your mother wound is healing the feelings of fear, abandonment, rejection, and shame in your inner little girl. So first you have to be recognizing when those emotions come up, right? Oh, when they come up in the moment, how do you soothe her? How do you talk to her? How do you reassure her? How do you practice patience and compassion and acceptance with her in the everyday moments? How do you show her through consistent care that you're there for her in such a way that she starts to relax and she don't crash out on you? That's what you do. And you do it forever. It's not like, oh, it's done. And I also want to say healing doesn't mean going back to never being hurt, right? Or like it's never happened. That doesn't mean what healed is, you know. And I thought about I'm probably going to talk about this in a couple of weeks, like in a full episode, as far as, you know, the scars that are left with us even through the healing process, the things that don't change, that become a part of us, but instead of being upset, instead of them being reminders of the pain that we've been through, we embrace them too. And we say, you know what? You still have rage. Guess what? I love the rage too, right? You have anxiety. You say, you know what? Give it to me. I'm going to love the anxiety too. All of the things, the parts of you that you want healing to change and take away and erase from your life, and you're like, they're not going anywhere. What you do is you hold your hand out and you say, I'll take that. I'll take that too. I'll take all of you, because that's what you've been waiting for from her. But that's what it takes. That's what you got to do for yourself. Okay. So that's question number 2. Number 3, y'all almost got me. Y'all almost got a tear to drop. Y'all almost got a tear to drop. But I'm a thug. Okay, number 3. Mom allowed dangers in home young, so it's difficult to spot danger, to trust myself in dangerous situations. So it's like, how do I learn to trust myself in dangerous situations after growing up in an unsafe home? When I tell y'all, y'all is my motherfucking people, because I can relate to this question too. My mother didn't have unsafe people in her house. We didn't live in an unsafe neighborhood. I was raised in a suburb. I went to good schools. I lived in a safe area. But, and my mother kept me away from every goddamn body, okay? I couldn't spend the night at nobody's house. Nobody could come over. She didn't have company. There was no men, nothing. And I think that was by design on her part, right? And that's commendable. Unfortunately, my mother was the person I didn't feel safe around. You know, my mother was physically violent when I was young. You know, that was a whooping. I needed a whooping, right? But backhanding a 5 and a 6, 7 year old, backhanding any child is not correction. It's abuse. Her emotional distance from me, you know, being in a house with a woman who doesn't share warmth with you when you're a little girl, makes you feel unsafe, because you're like, does she like me? Does she not like me? Because if she don't like me, is she going to leave me? Am I okay? Right? So I grew up not feeling safe fundamentally, and I had to learn how to manage that. And I did not become a person. I think there's 2 ways you can handle that. You become a person that retreats and you kind of cower, or you become a bear just like the other bear, right? And now you got 2 tigers in the fucking house. And that's what I became. I was not someone who became averse to conflict. I became someone who walked into conflict. I became someone who walked into danger. And I grew up as a tomboy with a father who taught me how to shoot guns and fight and cuss people out and not, you know, not take shit from people. So I did not know, by the time I was a senior in high school, the dangerous environments that I was putting myself in, because I was so cool and calm in danger. Like nothing could really unsettle me, because it was what I had lived with my life with my mother in our suburban home, right? You had to be tough. It took me a very long time. And I hope it don't take you as long as it took me to understand what danger looks like. And really, it is, I know I always go back to reparenting the inner child, but it really does. And really being mindful of how you feel. and being able to distinguish a healthy feeling from an unhealthy feeling. And that is, you're going to have to start to question yourself. And this is, I think, possibly where your intellect may need to come in, because your emotions are telling you we good. It's fine. I feel safe. I don't feel fear. So you can't trust your emotions in those moments. And you have to ask logical questions. And you probably need another person who sees life different than you to kind of give you another perspective. And I don't know what kind of danger you talking about. For me, danger was meeting a man at a club, and the next weekend him flying me to his house out of state, and then get to his house and it's a house full of guns. Girl, a motherfucking house full of guns. This is before cell phones. So I have no cell phone. I have no pager. I probably got about $30 in my purse, and I'm in another state. And I have not told anybody where I am. And let me tell you, I've done this more than one time. This is me in my 20s. This is like, yeah, this is after I graduated college, but this is early 20s. This type of shit I used to do. And I look back and I'm like, girl, I'm so glad you alive. I used to rock. I dated criminals up until I was 30. Everybody that I was with was a dope boy, a killer, a criminal. They were like, that was my whole life. And I was a good girl. I had a corporate job. I had a degree. You know what I'm saying? Just a bebopping around, riding a Cutlass at 3:00 in the morning in Southwest DC with my dude as he making stops. Dangerous. It's a miracle I'm alive. It's a miracle I'm alive. That's all I got to say. Right? So it has taken a lot. Let me tell you something that changed for me. Becoming a mother changed for me because I saw someone else's safety. Right? And I was like, oh, I can't do the same things. Remember, I said it took me a long time. I was 31 when I had my son. So I was still kind of wilding, even in my late 20s, right? Even when I was 30, I was still doing dumb shit, okay? Incredibly immature, foolish. So I don't know if there's something that you really, really care about. And maybe you can ask yourself, is there anything that I'm doing that puts this thing or person in jeopardy? Right? Because you might have a dream. You might have a dream, and your behavior puts that dream in jeopardy. Maybe you have kids, and maybe how you behave puts them in jeopardy. You got to be honest with yourself that when you ask that question. And I think you need an anchor. I needed an anchor. That was the only way that I was able to evolve past that, because my friends, they were in the same boat I was in. So there was no voice of reason. So I want you to find an anchor. Find something that matters so much to you, and then protect it. And in protecting that, you will learn how to protect yourself. And like I said, for me, that was having Vincent, almost 18 years ago. So that's my answer for that. And we are on 1, 2, 3. Okay, we are on question number 4. How do I learn to relax in love? I'm controlling everything. I can't even relax during sex. Not sure if this is my mother wound, parentification wound, or my rape wound. Either way is messing up my relationship. Okay. It doesn't matter what the wound is, because they're all wrapped in one. The rape, parentification, and mother wound, because they all cut the cord of you from you. They've broken the connection you have with yourself, right? So I want you to imagine A little girl lost in the woods in the middle of the night, right? Trying to find her way home. How can she relax? That's how I want you to envision yourself. She's lost in the woods in the middle of the night and she can't find her way home, right? She's been wandering. What would you tell her, right? What would you tell her so that she can either find her way home or somebody else can find her? Okay? I want you to drop into your heart with that, because the first thing I would tell her is you need to get quiet. You need to get really quiet and you need to find out if where you are is safe or not, right? Get quiet. You've been there long enough. If it's not safe, get somewhere safe. It sounds like you might be somewhere that is safe. But you haven't acknowledged that because you've been unsafe for so long and trying to control things. And you're going to have to take an assessment of your environment and be like, oh, am I actually safe here? Am I safe here? Look at the facts. This is now I want you to get in your mind, not in your heart, in your mind. Don't let the dick tell you if you're safe. Get in your mind and look at the evidence. Look at your everyday life. Are you completely safe? Because you might be 95% safe, but that extra, that 5%, that 5% is like, run, girl. So I need you to be honest, because I stayed in some environments where 95% I was safe, but that other 5%, it was not safe for my heart. It was not safe for my mind. It wasn't emotionally safe, but everything looked good and it wasn't horrible all the time. You know what I'm saying? But do you feel safe? Right? And if you can know that you are safe, but you don't feel it, then that's where you have got to learn to get quiet. And it's about behavioral changes, how you respond, understanding what is triggering you, right? Because trying to control everything means there's a issue with trust. And y'all know, and I always tell you, if you have an issue trusting others, that means you have an issue trusting yourself. So where have you betrayed yourself? Where have you abandoned yourself? Where have you shamed yourself? And now you have to go back and you have to repair those things. And I want you to repair those things for you. I don't want you to repair them to fix the relationship, because that's where you're going to be fucked up too. If you're trying to fix it and hurry up and fix it so you don't mess the relationship up, it's never going to work. It has to be so solitary and so selfish. You have to do it for you. And then you can invite the person that you're with if they're safe. Because if they're not safe, you need to get the fuck out of there. But if they are, you can invite them in to your process and have them help you and have them also hold you accountable. But you're going to have to be vulnerable with them. Vulnerability is the issue with you. You're going to have to understand, I keep me safe. So now that I know I can keep me safe, I don't have a care about vulnerability. There's no risk with being vulnerable because you can't hurt me. You can't abandon me. You can't reject me because I know I'm not going to do those things to myself. So I can see it coming, right? That is how you are able to calm down. And then once you calm down, once that little girl realizes that she is safe and it's quiet, she can look around for the light. She's like, oh, there's a light that way. I remember that. Then she starts to see a path. She's like, oh, I do know. Then she can listen. Oh, I hear some people calling my name. But first, you got to get quiet and you got to establish a baseline of safety. Because if you don't have that, you're not going to be able to relax. Okay. And you, whether you're doing that by yourself or you're doing that with a therapist, with a professional that can help you. But either way, the therapist won't work if you're not willing to be vulnerable with them. Okay. All right. Next question. Number 5. This is a long this question is kind of long, right? And the question is, how do you heal from a mother who hypersexualized you and assaulted you despite your efforts to be kind? This is one of the ones I read that made me want to fucking cry and beat her mama's ass. Her mother would come on to the men in her life and talk about, like, you need a real woman and types of shit like that. And she planned a birthday trip for her mother to go to Vegas for her mother's birthday. And she was going around telling men that they could have the daughter. The mother was saying, you can have my daughter. And the daughter was a virgin. If you have an issue with your, let me pause and come out of this question for a second. This is just a public service announcement, because I hear and see this so much. If you have an issue with your mama, stop breaking your back to spend bread on them to make them feel special. Stop with the birthday fucking parties. Stop it. Stop with the trips. Stop with the extravagance. Because you're 21 spending $5,000. You don't have $5,000 to spend at 21 on that. That's not what you're supposed to be spending your money on. Stop trying to buy your mother and prove that you're worth loving. And that's a critical piece. When you start to spend money you don't have on your mother, that's a red flag for you, right? Because you're probably doing it with other people in your life too. And it's a compulsion, because you're like, I have to do it because I need to. This is how I can prove. You just waiting on the sidelines. Put me in, coach. I can prove I'm a good person. I can prove I deserve love. Put me in. Put me in. Don't go in. Sit your ass down on the bench. Okay. So this is my answer for how do you heal from that? First of all, like I said before, understanding when you're in danger. You in danger if you're hanging with a woman. I don't know when this happened, how long it's been, but if you are with someone and they talk to you this way and they treat you this way, you are in danger. Which goes back to the earlier question that someone asked, how do I know when I'm in danger? You don't even realize you're in danger because it's your fucking mama. You're like, how can I be in danger for my mama? This is just her. This is how it hurts my feelings, but this is my mama. You're in danger. You're in danger. And I want to whoop her ass. We all do. And until you can really get to your safety is more important than her being your mama, you're going to stay in danger. But you need to first do is understand that and then remove yourself. Right? Remove yourself and begin the healing process with your inner little girl in establishing safety, because you don't have a sense of safety right now. You don't even know when you're safe and when you're not, and you don't know how to create boundaries around yourself so you can stay safe. So this process, especially if you're young, and I don't always say go to therapy, but when I hear stuff like this, especially if you're young, I appreciated therapy in my 20s because it gave me a different perspective, because things that I thought were normal, to have somebody relate to me that's not normal and it's not good. And it's okay for you to be mad about it, right? And I'm an advocate for anger. I'm an advocate for not letting the motherfucker play in your face. I'm an advocate for protecting yourself fiercely, even against your mama. And I think a lot of times that is the beginning of healing, because the little girl in you knows, oh, I have somebody to advocate for me now. I can start to relax, right? That's where I would start. It always is going to be with safety. But first you have to understand that you're not safe. Okay? That's my answer to that. Okay? Okay, what's next? Okay. So now we're up to question number 6. How do I overcome the fear of telling my mother I want to leave school and start my own business? I live with my mother and I have difficulty sharing some of my career plans, such as leaving school to start my own business. Every time I try to have that conversation with her, I feel I can't bring myself to say it. Maybe I'm afraid to go off on my own and try something new. Maybe I'm asking permission to be myself since what I have been doing just doesn't work for me anymore. In the past, similar conversations about my career ambitions were met with criticism, and I felt that I would fail. I appreciate any advice you could give. Thank you. I can relate to this one too. I can't tell you how to overcome the fear, but I can say that let's say you have a scale and fear is on one side of the scale and it's weighing that scale down. You need something else on the other end of that scale that weighs as much as your fear does to help you come back to balance, right? Because this is just the first stage of stepping into an unknown world, telling her, because you're still going to encounter doubt. You're still going to encounter fear. You may even encounter failure, which might make you believe that, oh, I shouldn't have done this. I should have listened to my mother. And that's not necessarily the case. Okay. What I'm trying to get you to do is establish, again, an anchor, something that you can always be grounded in, right? And for you, what is that? What is stronger than the fear of telling your mother? Is the unrealized dream you have? Is that strong enough? Do you have enough passion, right? Do you have enough heart in this dream that you have that you say, oh my God, doing this thing, I will be who I'm supposed to be doing this thing right here. Or I will be discovering myself with this thing. But you need something that gives you, I know what the fuck I'm doing, right? Now, I would also say, are you sure of what you want to do? And I'm not, this isn't about your mother right now, but have you established some evidence that this is the right choice? Have you started the business? Have you looked into it? Like, where are you? So you can stay grounded, because I'm 50 years old. I have started so many businesses. I'm not saying I shouldn't have, but I'm a, creative, artsy fartsy, free spirited girl who be doing a lot of shit over my lifetime. And I did not have a good handle on my finances, right? And when we're talking about a business, we're talking about finances. So if you're that scared, it sounds like there's not enough authority built in you right now. Okay? And you can get that authority through some proof of concept, through a vision that you have. And these aren't things that anybody else has to believe or validate for you, but you got to know them deep in your bones. Okay? So now that we have that established, I feel like that's your pre-work. Now, if you already have that, or, you've done what I say and you come back, this is what I'm going to say. When you leave school to start your business, do you still plan to live with your mother? Because she doesn't have to accept that. We can't become adults and make choices that we believe are best for us and then want other people to always agree with them, because they don't have to. They don't have to support us. They don't have to. So what is going to happen when you tell your mother that you're going to drop out of school? And her thing is, well, I'm taking care of somebody who go to school. I'm not taking care of somebody who dropped out of school. And she's well within her rights to do that. I can't say if she's right or she's wrong. That's her business. That's her money. She is the authority over her house. Now, if you pay bills, That's maybe something different, because now you have some authority and you have some skin in the game and she can't really do nothing. Or you can take your money and go somewhere else and live. What are you willing to do for it? And it is one thing to be criticized, but are you afraid of her criticizing you? Because you're going to have to get past that, because people going to criticize you anytime you do anything different. Like, thinking that you're going to be in this world and nobody going to criticize you, you're going to have to man up, because that's irrelevant how motherfuckers feel about you and what you're doing. So you need to understand, what do you want from her? And can she give it to you? You want her to support you. She's not going to do it. So now what? I don't want you to try and get me to tell you the perfect way to talk to her so that you can get the outcome you want from her, because you know that's not how we get down. This is about you and you. What are you willing to do to be your full self? What price are you willing to pay? How much discomfort are you willing to endure? What are you willing to sacrifice for her to have the life she wants to have? You making grown-up decisions right now. So you can't look to your mother and be the child and when you're trying to make a grown-up decision. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what she says. It doesn't matter if you're scared. You're going to do it or you're not going to do it. And if you scared of her, what she going to say, then are you even ready to start your own business? Because there's going to be a lot of fear when the bank deposits ain't what you want them to be. Okay? So I want you to really, I think I may have given you a lot to think about, but that's where we are. All right. Next question. Can healing happen when I live in an isolating environment and feel hyper independent due to my upbringing? So this person said they watched my You're Not a Burden episode and they don't think they have a mother wound. They just feel like they're a burden because of the unique and interesting way that they were brought up. I don't know how they were brought up, but feeling like you are a burden is definitely connected to a mother wound. And if you don't think you have a mother wound, but the things I'm saying resonate with you, you need to go back to the beginning so you can understand what a mother wound is, because I'm pretty sure you got one. Okay. But the question is, can you heal in an isolating environment and feel hyper independent? No, you cannot heal in an isolating environment, because being a burden in and of itself is a relationship dynamic. It's between two people. It's here you are, and then there's another person, and how they see you and how that makes you feel about yourself. That's a relational wound. It's between you and another person. A mother wound is a relational wound. It was created through an unhealthy relationship between you and your mother in some way. A lot of times it's so crazy, people don't think they have a mother wound because they don't even know what healthy and unhealthy is. That's what I mean by, like, folks don't know when they in danger. You don't even know you in danger. You don't even know that what you've been living with, who you've been living with, is unhealthy. You don't even know, because it's what you've known all your life. And maybe even culturally it is the norm, but it's still not fucking right. Okay? So you need community to heal, because you need to see yourself reflected in different people. Because how you see yourself is based off of how the people around you have seen you, and they've made you feel like a burden. So you now have to heal a relational wound in relationship with others. Why would you want to be isolated and hyper independent? Those are trauma responses. So I think even though it's normal for you, it's still a trauma response. And the answer is no. You need people. And being hyper independent ain't shit. All it means is that you're scared. That's all it means. And you're going to have to take the time to first establish safety with yourself, and then find environments of people who validate you as being good enough no matter what, and create even more openness in yourself so that you can be interdependent with people, because I'm sure you're helpful to others, and finding a way to allow others to be helpful to you. There is no way around this. And I even had people be like, well, never mind it. I guess I'm not going to heal then because I'm not doing that. Then you're not going to heal then. Then just turn the shit off. Listen, go watch something else. Okay. All right. Moving right along, everyone. Okay, where are we at now? How do you make peace with actions taken from a place of trauma, like exposing abuse when closure or apology is not guaranteed? Now I'm gonna read this whole one and hope I don't cry. So, because this is special. Healing when you believe you went too far and might have to stand up for yourself and then handle the backlash. What that sound like? If there's you just never mind. Let me stay. For example, I exposed someone who molested me for my teenage years and a cousin of the family for something different. This cousin has reached out to me, but I've blocked them and have no contact. Have had no contact for several years. I didn't realize I was acting out of trauma and didn't truly forgive them for what they did to me, although I physically moved on. Y'all know I'm burning the fuck up right now. I am wondering, how do you make peace with those things you can't take back, but maybe you meant to just be honest with yourself that you wanted an apology or closure, neither of which are guaranteed? I want to ball this motherfucking paper up and throw it so hard that it turns into a rock and hits whoever did this to her in the middle of their motherfucking forehead. Okay. We're going to have to reframe everything. Okay. There is no backlash. Those motherfuckers, you don't owe shit. You don't have to forgive no motherfucking body. This is not about that. This is a perfect example of how we rush to accommodate other people when we have been hurt and we have not healed. Our hurt has not been healed. The abused little girl in you has not been healed. She don't feel safe. She has not been seen. She has not been validated. She has not been taken care of. And here we are, like, did I go too far with them? You know what I'm saying? Maybe I shouldn't act this way because now they're trying to reach out to me. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you. Okay? And even if they do, so motherfucking what? It's not worth the risk. If you had a little girl, if you had a teenage daughter, what would you tell her to do? Would you tell her when she's looking you in your face and the pain she's been through, and you gonna tell her, just forgive them? And then what? I wanna fucking scream. I don't want to scream at you. I want to scream at the people who taught you that it was your job to take the fucking back seat so they can be in the front seat. I want to scream and choke out the motherfuckers who made you believe that you were not worth it, that you were not valuable, and that people could come and treat you any way they want to, and then come back and be like, hey girl, what you doing? Want to go out tonight? And all that type of bullshit. You want to know how to make peace with actions taken from a place of trauma. You didn't do anything wrong. Because that's what it sounds like to me. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to make peace with. Yeah, you should have acted that way. You're not wrong. You didn't take it too far. You don't have to talk to them. They devastated you. Okay? And at the worst level, I mean, down to the core, there's nothing fucking worse that a person can do to someone. Do you understand? Do you understand that sexual violence is violence? It's worse than physical violence. But again, we don't know that because everybody walked around us like, oh, does that happen? Whatever. No, you're walking around with bullets inside of you. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there is never too much or too far that you can do or say to a motherfucker like that? You couldn't do enough. You can't. So to get past it, I want you to let yourself off the hook and know you didn't do shit wrong. And take it to another step. Put a restraining order out on that bitch. Tell everybody. Okay? Send some shit to their job and get their ass fired. I don't, because the Lord said vengeance is his, but I'm at a point where I'm like, well, maybe he sent me. Maybe he sent me to do his good deeds. Okay? So rest your head. You didn't do anything wrong. Release yourself from any and all guilt and block anybody that's telling you that you should be talking to those people. Block them, because they're perpetrators too. They're trying to pull their pistol out on you also. You in danger. Okay? You're in danger. I need you to understand that. Snap out of it and take care of yourself. Okay? All right. I didn't cry. Next, how do you deal with the shame from the consequences of bad decisions? Dealing with shame from consequences of bad decisions, social media, oversharing, legal system issues, da 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 da. Reputation damage. She put financial ruin. So let me explain this to you. And I tell everybody, go look up Brene Brown talking about shame. Some people like Brene Brown, some people don't, but I've learned a lot from her. And I can take what I need and leave the rest. When you make a mistake, right? A mistake is, I did something wrong. Shame is, I am wrong. Right? That's what you're telling yourself. I am wrong. I am a bad person. And shame is the way we punish ourselves. My thing is, punishment does not correct behavior. It's not a sustainable way to correct behavior, even though shame is used as a very, very popular tool to adjust people's behavior. But it is not a healthy way to move forward in the world, right? So I'm telling you, first you need to put down the shame, because it's not going to serve you. And the mistakes that you made are not mistakes that other people have not made before. And that you probably are being very, very hard on yourself. And there probably are people around you that are being hard on you too. Or if they're not, it's because you haven't told them and you're afraid if you do tell them how they will respond. Okay? So what I want you to do is go back to creating some safety within yourself. And I don't know your situation or why you did certain things, but this really ain't social media oversharing. Nobody gives a fuck. A lot of times we think people looking at us and they're not really looking at us. Okay? Now, there are consequences from those bad decisions. You can deal with the consequences of the bad decisions without having shame about the bad decisions. Those are two separate things, right? So I've spoken about the shame, and now what are the consequences? And now what? Because once you've been consequenced, you can't keep being consequenced no motherfucking more. Nobody is going to keep hitting me over the head with the same shit. That's not happening. So a consequence I look at like a debt. A debt has an amount owed, and it's like, once you pay this amount, the debt is over. Have you paid your debt for whatever that you did, whether it be financially, mentally, physically, whatever it is? Have you said, whatever it is? I don't know. But once that's done, fuck it, move on. You're going to have to move on. And you're going to have to give yourself grace, compassion, acceptance. Because to some degree, you were doing the best you knew how. Now, have you learned how to make better decisions? If you've learned to make better decisions, then you've learned the lesson. Successful people move on. They do not sit and roll in it. And they don't let other people Allow them to roll in the mud of bad decisions. And you have permission. That's why healing your mother wound is so important, because it builds autonomy and authority. You have the authority to say, I release myself from this. This is no longer who I am. I will no longer carry any guilt or weight from this situation now that I have paid my penance up for it. I will not allow anyone to bring it to me anymore. I have the authority to do that. Nobody else has to agree. Okay? This is not a democracy. Okay? So that's how we deal with that. We got two more questions. How do you heal from a mother wound caused by a parent choosing an abuser over you? How you heal is how you heal. It's the same. It doesn't matter. Remember I told y'all last week, like, people think their specific situation changes it. It's like, well, I have a mother wound, but I have a mother wound because of this. And this is, you heal it different here. I have a mother wound here, so you heal it differently. You still have an abandonment and rejection wound. That's what a mother wound gives you. It gives you a fear of rejection, and it gives you a fear of abandonment because you have actually been rejected and you have been abandoned, right? If they're choosing the abuser, that means sounds like you have been abused. Again, this is probably the third time I've said this today about therapy. Going to see someone, because sexual violence is violence. It's worse than physical violence, and it attacks every molecule inside of you. Every molecule. It spreads like an emotional cancer inside of you, and you need some help to get it out, to deal with it, to make peace with it. You need help. So it's less about your mother, right? It's less about her, and it is all about you. Because what does it mean for you when you want to heal your mother wound in that situation? Is it so you can still have a relationship with your mother, so you can understand her, right? Because at this point, there's your mother who has hurt you through her own betrayal. And then you have another outside person who has hurt you because of the violence against you. That is not something you can deal with by yourself, because the link between you and you has been clipped multiple times. And healing it is the same process. No matter what the specifics are, it's the same. It's redefining your own autonomy and creating safety. So many of these questions are about the first principle of healing your mother wound, and they're about defining safety for yourself. That is where you start. Don't try to eat the whole elephant. Don't try to get past it so fast. I want to move on with my life. I'm sorry. This shit is going to take time. Don't put it on a clock. Just be there for yourself. Okay? And final question of the day. How do I mine for good feelings in the midst of emotional healing? And this is all they said was mining for good feelings, because I've talked about mining for good feelings in previous episodes. And this helps everybody. Every question I've answered, this last question, you can use this as a part of your healing process. This is a part of your toolkit. Mining for good feelings. I'm going to give you a couple of things, right? Mining for good feelings, you have to be in the present moment. You can't be in the past. You can't be in the future. You can't be trying to control anything that's going on. You have to be quiet. You have to get still, and you have to be able to sit in the present moment, right? So, right now, I just took a deep breath. I got comfortable in my chair. I planted both of my feet. I'm taking another deep breath. I'm breathing it out, and I'm becoming aware of my environment. I'm becoming aware of how the fabric on the chair feels under my fingers. I'm becoming aware of the sound of my own breath. I'm becoming aware of the way my hair feels as it lightly brushes against my forehead. I'm aware of the pillow that I am resting on and the cushion that it provides. I'm hearing my own voice. I'm feeling the air from the ceiling fan on my shoulders. This is how you come into the present moment, right? And in this present moment, I have everything. I have everything in this moment. I have air coming through my lungs. I'm twinkling my 10 toes. They're all moving. I'm moving my fingers and my elbows. I'm taking another deep breath. I'm being very thankful for all of these things that are happening without any work from me. My lungs expanding, taking in air. My blood flowing to all the places that it needs to flow to so I can stay awake. Me having control over my mouth to open it and close it. Me having the power to cause words and sounds to come out of my mouth. What a blessing. This is how you mine for good feelings, right? You come and you make it very small, but it's everything at the same time. You come into this present moment and you appreciate what you have. Whether it's sun coming through the window and you feel the warmth on your skin, or if it's the rain falling and the sound of it that gives you comfort, or it's that you just realize, wow, my ears work. I can fucking hear. Wow, that's amazing. My ears work. Then you start to understand how many things are working in your favor without you doing anything, without you trying to prove it, without you trying to earn it. And as you begin to fill up with appreciation, you just circulate it in your body and you just, wow, you become more and more in awe. And your body and your mind and your spirit becomes a magnet for even more things for you to appreciate. You're like, oh, wow, I ate breakfast today. I slept in a bed last night, right? You think about, oh, wow, my son is in the other room healthy. I don't have to hook him up to anything for him to breathe. I don't have to put him in a wheelchair for him to move. Simple things, but they mean so much. That's how you mine. That's how you mine for good feelings, right? I'm not even going to take you into anything else. I just want you to learn how to come back to the present moment, right? And when your mind tries to take you out of that present moment, say, oh, well, this is wrong and that's wrong and this thing isn't working. You come back and you're like, you sit until there's a level of awe in your own existence. It's like, wow, that shit tough. Everybody didn't wake up today. I woke up today. Doesn't matter how hard it is. I didn't have to work to wake up. That's how you do it. That's how you mine for good feelings. And you make it a habit. It's something you do for the rest of your life to the point where it's always happening. You're always noticing what fucking amazing thing has just happened. Like, oh my God, they just smiled at me. Oh, I got to free this. Oh, my package from Fashion Nova came early. Ooh. You know, it's like you can capture the goodness around you. I can promise you that no matter what is happening, there's something good happening. And you need to hone yourself in on that. You need to be looking for it all the time. And the more you do that, the more you'll see it and the more your life changes. So that's how we mine for good feelings. Listen, this has been awesome. This is going to be a long episode. I could have broken it up into three, but I don't really feel like it. So just beware. You might break this up and listen to part of it today and part of it tomorrow. It's all good. I love you guys. I love the work that you're doing. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for listening. I read all the comments. I don't reply to all the comments because I be in that bitch all day replying. But I love you. Thank you. I hear everything that you're saying. Y'all love my hair. I love y'all too. You know, listen, be good to yourself. If you got more questions, send them in either in the show notes or the show notes in YouTube or on the Audible podcast. Either way, and I can come back and we'll do more of this. If there's anything I talked about today or last week that you're like, hey, can you expound on that? Maybe that would be a good full episode. Let me know because y'all know I can talk for days, right? I'll see y'all next week. Bye.